Hi everyone, I hope you all are doing good. This is the episode 7, Medical Billing Blueprint, and the episode which you all have been waiting anxiously. I got like hundreds of the DMs so far regarding just let us know how the medical billing companies are lending the clients. That's what we are discussing today. And there are a lot of like this I think this video is going to be a little bit longer than the usual one because we'll be discussing ins and outs and about the industry and how we can get that. So let's just start with this, learning billing is a kind of a part which is a little bit easy as compared to getting the clients in because that's where most of the people fail. It's not just because they're not good in their job, it's because they don't know how to get the clients, right? And you don't need 100 clients to get started with. You need your first client basically. Number one is going to be the client that you will be starting at. You don't need 1,000 clients in a one row. You won't be needing 500 clients in a one row or big clients. Because you're not selling, to everybody and you will be actually selling your services or you will be actually providing your services to the clinics mostly like initially small clinics, private practices, and practice managers, that's where they have the problems, that's where these new clinics are having problems regarding credentialing, billing, coding, and all that stuff. So this is the kind of your target audience that you'll be working on. Knowing your ideal client is the step number one before any outreach out there. Either it's BPO, either it's any industry, RCM, digital marketing, IT solutions, all of that stuff. Any industry has this outreach strategy where they will be actually learning about their product and learning about their clientele and learning about the target audience, and then they will be pitching their services to these audience. So they are most likely, I would say, the best top ways of outreaching or getting any client is cold calls. That's number one. It's very affordable. Anybody can do that. um, and at the same time it gives you the direct reach to the client. So and then second one that I prefer is LinkedIn messaging, where you connect with a lot of people and they actually know you, they saw your profile, they actually can learn more about you. So that's a very legitimate way to actually, that's another platform which is very legit and people can actually relate to others and see them, talk to them, set up a time. And that's how they actually, before connecting with you or before talking to you, they can actually go to your profile, learn more about it and see if, you make sense for them and they make sense for you at the same time. So, and there are a few things, and then obviously email marketing they're good. I would say email marketing is good if you're doing it in bulk. Keep it very precise and do very effective, efficient email. You don't need a lengthy bodies out there. You just need something precise, sufficient, concise email that you can send it over in a bulk for the providers out there. And, you know, if someone is interested to learn more about it, they will email you back and you can take it from there. So that's number one. Another tip that I would like to include in this is do not pitch your services. Do not pitch your services. Ask questions first. If they're facing any challenges in their practice, if they're having some issues, what are those issues? And basically, based on that, you can help them out. So don't do that. Um, then another method of getting clients is referral management. Word to mouth always works best. So one client is happy is equals to more clients. Doctor trust doctors. So if any of the providers happy with you, you're even a startup, if you're just an entrepreneur or another an RCM consultant who's just starting up, and if you have one or two providers and they're happy with your services, they're gonna refer you more. So that's how it works. It's very simple. Content game is there. I would say long term, you need a good content, LinkedIn posts, videos, whatever your brand looks like, whatever your firm looks like. You need to tell people this build the trust before you even talk with the provider or any, healthcare provider or clinic or anything. They actually see before meeting you, like you have a website, make sure your website looks good. Either you have a different social media handles, they should supposed to look good. The platforms out there, Insta, Facebook, LinkedIn, whatever you're using, make sure they actually tell about you and your vision and your company. So if your that is aligned with everything, so it seems like they can trust you. So testimonials, case studies, whatever you can bring on the table, which actually makes sense for the providers to see and learn more about you, or eager them to learn more about you. That's where you can get, gain the trust. So that's, and along with that, um, if you're a kind of a salesperson or someone who's actually knows about the business consulting and all that stuff, I can teach you one thing because most of the people will in the sales or business development managers or consultant that I've seen, they literally try to sell their services to the providers. Healthcare doctors are different. They have different mentality, they have different perception about things, they assume things differently. So, this is something which is based on my experience. After helping over 500 providers, that is something which I can tell you. They're not a lot, but I have done a lot in my past. So I can, based on my experience, this is something which I've seen so far. Don't sell your services to them. Identify their problems, help them out. For example, if you see, I notice your AR is stuck or your claims are being denied, that's that's where we can fix it up, talk about keep it conversational, right? You don't need to say, hey, this is this, I'm so and so, and we are a company which is all of that stuff, and we've been doing this from the last couple of years or whatsoever. We provide these services. I don't do that personally. Try to communicate with them, see what exactly they're looking for, what exactly, the trouble they're having or they're in right now, or whatever they would like to go with, start from there. Become a consultant. Do not just be a salesperson who's just throwing bombarding questions and all that stuff. I know what is your patient count looks like, how much you make on the collections. That's the question that I hated most, honestly, because people ask for your collection like, they're just here for the business, right? Everybody's here for the business. That's something which I understand, but the partnerships are more stronger than that, right? So if you're building yourself up, these are kind of my keys and, you know, tips that I can share with you that will actually help you in the longer run is because I personally, experienced that all. So this is not something, this whole medical blueprint is based on experience. So that's what I can tell you about. Do not try to sell your services out. Make sure you help them in a way and tailor your service accordingly, you know. Um, Most people quit earlier because they are not getting the response because they tried 100 calls or 200 calls in a month or so, and they say, we're not getting responses, so we're not doing it anymore. That's where you need to understand. Patience is the key. Um, every call is kind of a sales call. That's what we used to say in BPO, but every call here is going to be a different one for you. Provider do listen to you, but they just need to, nowadays I have to understand that providers, it's not their fault. They are getting 300, 400 calls a day, spam calls. A lot of people are reaching out to them. Even the new companies are who just started the billing or maybe, who just learned in few months and then now they wanted to have their own agency registered and everything. You know, those people who actually talk more, deliver less, that's where things get messy and that's why the provider don't trust you anymore. So that's why the cold calls are not going so well these days because they don't want to hear everybody saying, we do billing and, we do credentialing and all that stuff. So try to avoid that. Try to talk to them a way that it needs to be a human. You talk to them in a way that you do not just reflect your services, ask them if they're facing any trouble in this manner so you can help them out. If they're interested, they will ask you, what do you cost, how that works, set up a time, go in a Zoom, do whatever that's for HIPAA compliance. Zoom is good, Teams is good, Google Meet, talk to them, learn about their practice, learn about the challenge, create a tailored solution based on that and help them out. That's where you can do. Um, I would say follow-up is everything. I've seen that a lot of clients which we have closed so far are getting from follow-ups because sometimes they're not ignoring you, they're just busy, right? So they are busy out there. They got tons of the paperwork they're stuck with and, under all the stuff, under the pressure, and they're seeing a lot of patients and then patients and progress notes, all of the things. Office is messy. So usually they do not reply in a like very quick manner or very early manner. So do not wait, keep yourself demotivated for that. Just wait. Do another follow-up after a week or so, ask them if they're free now, talk to them, help them out accordingly, add value each time. That's what I can tell you as a mentor here, that you need to add value, right? So What that's supposed to mean is basically every time you're doing a follow-up, you need to add value. Let's just say you're now contacting back for the credentialing services. You're doing another follow-up regarding credentialing. You say, "Hey, doctor, this is so and so, and I'm reaching out to you. Just wondering if you got up into something, and I want to do another follow-up with you just to make sure if you're available or if you get any chance to review my recent proposal or whatsoever that I've sent over recently. And also, if you get any chance to do so, I'm attaching." Or maybe I can help you with your billing too. That's what I understand after learning more about your business. And down the road, that's something which I can do and put the value over there regarding it's a website, or regarding it's a front desk or whatsoever that you can do. Help them out. That will give you another add-on service without pitching that. So most of the clients do not just convert on the first contact. Structured follow-up, sales funnels are the key. So do that. Another thing that I just got to in my mind is about the pricing. Most of the people are asking me to tell us about what we should ask or quote to another provider. Now, usually in the onshore side of it, US people are offering in Brooklyn and all the states, out there in New York and Colorado and states that we are in. We usually offer in between to 5 to 7%. That's what we charge. And in that, we give them a valuable scope of service that covers almost everything that we can. But obviously, they're based on every pricing structure is based on the tail situation and all that stuff. But usually, this industry standards are often between sits around 4 to 10. I see a lot of people who are just making this market worse is because they are charging in between. I don't know. I've seen a lot of other companies who are actually a big firm out there, but they are charging between 2.9, 1% on those practices who are just starting up and everything. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, it's a good thing either if you can help them out in that manner, but you cannot promise something which you cannot deliver, right? So let's just say if somebody's making $10,000 a month, any practice, let's just say talk about a counselor who's just starting making $10,000 for her or himself, and now you're offering them 2.9, and let's just say 1.9, and that's what I heard so far. That is like a Floxinox nihilification for me, you know, kind of a statement. So if you offer that kind of a percentage, how would you be able to provide that kind of value over there? Either if, unless, let's just say, even if you're having, however, you say I have resources offshore in Pakistan and in India, different countries, but still you cannot deliver that. How much you will be able to pay your certified coder if you're doing that? If you're getting $200 from each client every month who's just making like, let's just say, only 2%, you were making $200, how would you be able to afford all of that stuff? And that's where they underdeliver. And then audit comes up, all of that stuff, providers are unhappy. And what they actually, what impact that will, puts on them is because do not trust outsourcing their business. Outsourcing isn't a bad thing. About let's just say AAPC, so American Professional Academy of Coding says like in 2033 about let's about somewhere about $3 trillion will be outsourced from America, from United States to different countries regarding medical billing and all that stuff. So the market is huge. People are trusting others because we save a lot of costs out there, you know, instead of just going in-house. Some of them like to go in-house. That's their perspective. I appreciate, respect that. But again, it's not making you saving you money. But again, if any provider or anybody, even though myself is just being spammed by someone or scammed by someone, who's under delivering anything, I would be doing the same. So I do not blame them for that. So anyhow, keep your pricing hybrid, flat fees, percentages, well, and that's how you can actually get a client who's actually they will be interested in learning more about your service and get close because by you because they will work with you because you will be keeping it very competitive all the time. Now, bring it home. Let's just say clients don't, yeah, another thing. Clients don't come because you do or you learn billing. They come to you because you can solve their problems or, help them with their revenue. So remember that thing, keep that perception in your mind, keep that, perspective in your mind and help them out in that manner. Only that's where you can close more of the clients and groom your company and all that stuff. Um, This is not actually a billing business over here in the healthcare. It's more about problem solving business. That's what I can say. Your first client is going to be more important than any of your certification out there. So make sure you deliver what you actually are saying. You know, whatever you're saying to them, whatever you're promising out there, make sure you deliver that. That way you can actually build the trust. And at the same time, doctors are, for those who might be asking me, what to say to the doctor, their certification is required to get the, help the clinic out there. No, the doctors don't care what you know. They only care what you can fix. And at the same time, you know, they're there to help the patients. That's what they read in a medical school for over 2 decades. So you need to make sure you learn whatever you learn in billing, you deliver that without us. You give them the strategies, you talk to them about this revenue and all this stuff. They wanted to know how you can help them out. If you can talk, you can learn at the same time. You just have to be their, partner who can actually will be taking care of the behind the scenes of their clinic. So if you can do that, guys, you can get the clients, you can do everything. If you understand this, you're already ahead of most of the people, I can say, in the industry. And yeah, we do another episode. I'll show you how the freelancers and everything, owning, building their own companies and everything. Stay tuned for the medical billing blueprint. We are telling a lot of things here. And again, if you like this video, wonderful. If it can help you out, share with others who are actually struggling in terms of their career path, at the same time who are struggling to, help the providers out there. Some of the people are more talented that I've seen in my life. They are very, admirable people out there, but they don't know how to start, or, everybody needs a push. Share this video with them, help them out, and it's not about the billing, it's about the business. Let's just say, you help them out, few others who can actually make something good for themselves. That's the approach needs to be. And at the same time, you're helping a lot of clinics out there. So, well, that has been said. I'll see you guys in another video. Hope you all will be doing good by then, and take care of yourself. Have a good one, guys. Take care.